get you started. You're always so short on time. I don't think anyone else is coming in. If they do, I'll let them in. Okay. So tell me what you've got your mats. I can see just about. Carol, I don't know if we've met before, but if you can put your screen towards your floor so I can maybe see your mat, just in case I see something I would like to correct, then I can at least say, so the screen just goes down to your mat, so it helps me just have a visual of, yeah, it's awkward, isn't it, if you're not used to, so if you put the screen higher than the floor, because I think you're in, yeah, then it's facing the mat. I can just about see where you are, and it's nice and clear. Otherwise, if I can't, it's you can, as long as you can see me and you can follow, that's the most important thing. Yeah. So I like to work with a chair. If you have a chair, I like to work with your sofa. If you're in the lounge, you can choose what you wish to work with. If you have any yoga equipment like a block or a brick, that would be great. So see how you go. If you have a chair and you all have access to a chair, then bring it onto your mat so we can work with the chair as well this morning, please. Haven't seen a few of you for a couple of weeks, so I'd like to maybe get started on the chair. Okay. So come along and first let's sit. Can you all sit on your heels? Now, when you sit on your heels, that's part one, but ideally we want to sit between the heels. If you can sit between your heels, it's so much better for your feet and to bring the arches back into your feet and to align the pelvis so the tailbone goes down. So if you have a foam block or you have bricks, whatever works best for you, something of a brick or a foam block nature, a yoga brick, works better to sit on, not a cushion, because we're basically raising the floor. Yeah, we're basically raising the floor. So you bring your knees together and you put your feet on either side of your yoga block or your brick. And that will just help you sit well. And you take your knuckles into the arches of your feet. So then when you use your own knuckles into the arches of your feet, you can actually work through the arches of your feet and just bring that energy back into your feet. So the top of the feet get what we call a gentle massage towards the ground. It opens up the soles of the feet. Try and work like this if you can. The knees are together, the feet are on either side of your bricks, and you're sitting. So you sit on a height. Eventually, we take the tail between the heels. We take the tailbone down, we take the buttocks down, if at all possible. Once you're on your supports, and that can be as high as you need to be. I had to go much higher last year. I went from ground all the way up to about 2 or 3 blocks because of the inflammatory arthritis that I got in my foot. It's much better now. I've gone lower and lower. Yesterday I was all the way down again. But that's taken a lot of work to bring mobility back into my feet just by using my legs. The legs take quite a lot as well. So just for another moment here, if you can get your knuckles into the arches of your feet, there's a little bit of pressing on them if you can in going back. Straight arms will help you move the shoulder blades into your back, and the shoulder blades into your back will help you lift the tailbone off and bring your tailbone forward. That allows you to elongate your spine a little further, and that will take your ears back and bring length to the side of your neck as well. So it's very corrective for your posture when we sit like this, because then when we stand up in mountain pose, it goes on and on and on. Take another breath in here. Those who've been in it for a while, we like to sit like this and breathe. And it's very good to sit. It's one of the postures you can sit in, especially after you've eaten. Great for digestion. And of course, to just breathe effectively through the side ribs, the diaphragm, and the back body. And bring your palms to your thighs, keep the shoulders down, And then from here, we'll bring your palms to our heart space and elbows down. You take a deep breath in. Press your feet, let the spine ascend as you ground down through your feet. Exhale to bow your head, just connecting to yourself so we can get started. One more inhalation. And exhale. Releasing the palms onto the ground and coming onto the knees. Now the chair is there. I've left the chair there. We're moving it a little bit further away. If you don't have a chair, you can put your hands on the edge of the settee. That works as well. Hands are on the floor. We're on all fours this morning. So just stay on all fours. If you want to move any supports you had between your feet, you move them away so they're out of the way. So you've got enough space to extend the legs back. Yeah. I been using all these this morning. Did a busy class this morning. Right, now, from here, you're just going to take the knees wide, please, and bring the big toes together. So the knees go wide and the big toes together. You leave your hands where they are and you take your hips back. We try and take the hips to the heels now and get space through the spine. Now, the head does necessarily not go down. It would be nice for the head to touch the floor and the hips to touch the heels. That's where we would like to go. If it does not happen, you put usually a foam block between the heels and your hips so you feel a connection so you can go back more. If your hips and your heels are touching, you then put a foam block or a brick underneath your head to get head support. So you're either raising the floor for your forehead or you're putting something between your buttocks and your heels to connect. So we're looking for space in the spine and space to do some breathing. So press the palms well. If you feel you'd like to get a little more space for the upper back, you simply come onto the fingertips. Try it. Come onto your fingertips. Make a cup of your hands, which will raise the arm bones, and it'll give you a little more length and space going back. So when you come onto the fingertips, you raise the arm bones. So with the arm bones raised, you're connecting even better in your upper back. Take another breath in. You have an impression of where your arm bones are now. Keep the arm bones up and put the palms on the floor. But don't let the arm bones drop because the arms collapse. So keep the activity in the arms. Well done. Take another inhalation. And while you're here, ground down with your palms and rotate the outer arms towards the inner upper arms and take the inner upper arms towards your ceiling. So you begin to open your chest. And once you've done that, look forward, come onto your knees, and that action of the outer arms coming to the inner upper arms, etc. Tip your tail to your heels, draw the belly up, press the floor, move yourself up and back into downward facing dog. And you want to replicate exactly what you just did on the ground. You want to take your hips up and back. Before we took the hips back, now we want to take the hips up and back. So the same work with your palms, outer arms to upper inner arms to the ceiling, hips high, go ahead and straighten the legs. Move your thighs back. Breathe in. Ideally, feet hip width. Give yourself an inhalation through the side ribs. Take your gaze back so you release the neck, please. Don't be arching the neck. You want to keep the neck long. Exhale. Right, so these legs need to wake up a little bit. We need more space in the legs. Let's bring some awareness through the legs this morning before we keep going. Can you walk your feet to your hands and your hands to your feet and just hang forward? You've got the chair there if you need to take your hands on the chair in order to hang forward. At least that's an option. If you can just hang forward and come to a standing forward bend, then please just do a standing forward bend with your head down. Don't hold the elbows because we're not doing that work. If you are going to hold the elbows, it's a very different awareness on where those elbows need to go. A forward bend needs to be a forward bend. You do need to tip your head down, ladies, because you're holding your heads up. You're holding your heads up, you don't realize how much we hold our heads up. Forward bend means you need to tip the head down. So take your gaze back and take your eyes into your belly. So you don't arch your neck. If you were to put your hands on the back of your heads, you would be able to move your head down more because you're arching your necks and you need to release your spine. So the top of the head has to hang so much as if it's about to drop off. That's it. So you need to release the tension through the shoulders. Hence the chair is there if you need it. Now, can you straighten the legs while you're here? It's not about putting the hands on the floor. Straighten the legs. Let the hands come up, straighten the legs. Okay, press your feet, bend your knees, inhale, come up. So this is the thing. We see lots and lots of people hanging forward because they want to get their hands on the floor. But the whole purpose of the forward bend is to work the legs. If your legs are not on charge and the legs are not working, and then you can't come forward by using the back of the legs, then you're not using the legs. That means then the joints are going to get affected because the back of the knees go in, the side of the knees go in, and your legs are not supporting the upper body. The lower triangle is half the body. Your legs are half the body. So you need to wake these legs up. Do you have a foam block, all of you? And a brick. You can choose one or the other. The foam block is kinder. The brick is a little more intense. You can try with both. Let's do the foam block first. Bring your feet together. You might need wall support because you may find you lose balance. Try not to lose balance. Bring the soles of your feet together. Bring the soles of the feet into the ground, but bring the inner edges of your feet together. Stand. The wall can be behind you in case you feel you need wall support. Give yourself a knee bend. Slide the block all the way up your thighs and just squeeze the block with your thighs. So take your awareness to the thighs. Go ahead and squeeze the block. Let the block help you bring awareness to your legs. Squeeze the block. Try to keep the throat soft and just squeeze the block. When you squeeze the block, there's energy coming through your legs. You may find you go onto one foot more than the other. So look for balance. Mountain pose is key in your practice because mountain pose will take you to all the other postures, as you know. Separate the toes, find your inner heels, press the outer heels. Try and work both legs evenly. Let the block bring awareness to your upper inner thighs. So that's quite kind to the thighs. It gives you a little bit of awareness through opening the back of the legs. If you wish to try with the brick, try with the brick. It goes in and then again, you squeeze the brick. You try. The brick has a little more effect because you have to do a little more and there's more to work through the upper inner thighs. So if you squeeze that brick, you'll bring life through your legs and you'll feel the activity through your feet. Try and keep the feet together to do it. Yeah. So the legs need to take over, not just in your life, you're walking and you're sitting, but you need to bring space into the back of the knees and especially the outer knees. We get dense here, then these have little dents, and then all the pressure goes on the joints. Mm-hmm. And then the final part is, if you take the brick out, well, the final part for this morning, here, if you separate the toes, just for the legs at the moment, we want to put them between the knees. Now, the brick is quite hard. If you've got a foam brick, it works. I've got a cork one. Either or. Let's go with a foam block between the knees. Now, we all have, some of you may have issues going on with your knees. This is not going to hurt the knees. This is going to bring awareness through your inner knee joints and perhaps bring the knees back into the outer knees. So what this will do is if you squeeze that block, you feel an opening here on the sides of the legs and the back of the legs. And that's what we're not getting. So when you're doing your forward bending, we're not getting the work we need through the legs here, opening through the back of the legs, lifting the energy of the kneecaps up to come forward. This head stays up. You need to drop it down because the forward bending is done from the hips. So come up, take an inhale. Take the brick out. Now, last time, so we can move on. Take your foam block and take it all the way back up into your groins and squeeze from the upper inner thighs. Upper inner thighs. Try and bring the feet together. And then put your palms just here around the pelvis where your hip bones are. And just gently feel this. So you don't hold, you just put your palms at elbows out. Now, go ahead and squeeze the brick and see if the energy comes up here towards your palms. I just want you to nip the hip bones up. They're here, the hip bones. Pick them up internally and move them away from one another. So you get this feeling of separation coming through your pelvis. If the pelvis separates, the chest will open. And then when you do your forward bend, hinge from here. So think about coming forward from up here, because we're coming forward from the pelvis. Squeezing that brick, if it's still there, you can take it off. Let the arms just go. Drop the head. This is why the chair is there if you need it. So do it with or without the brick. Hinge forward again into your forward bend. Try. So you need to squeeze that brick a little more. Straighten the legs. Bring the kneecaps up. Try and keep the legs straight and hinge forward. Or go to the chair if you think you're going to lose balance. Or go to the chair if you're going to lose balance. So go towards your chair. Think through the legs. Yeah, better. Now drop the head down. Now work the legs. Drop the head. Work the legs. Better. Take a breath in. Let the head go. Press your feet. Inhale, please come up. Wonderful. When you take your hands on the chair seat, on the sides of the chair seat, please, and walk back, use the full length of your mat. The chair seat, the hands on the chair seat will bring awareness to your chest, and the arms will connect better to your back. Think about where you had your bricks now. You had them between your thighs, you had them between your knees. Move the thighs back. Think thighs back, because when we do downward facing dog on the floor, we round the shoulders. So now hold onto the chair and move your thighs back. Lift the knees up where you had your brick. Yeah. And just be moving everything back. Let the chair help you open your back. If you're holding a table, hold the sides of the table. If you're holding the chair, hold the sides of the chair. Yeah, that's better now, so you can lengthen your arms. Work the legs. Breathe in. Here we try not to drop the head. It's remarkable sometimes. In a forward bend, when we need to drop the head, we don't. And in downward facing dog, we don't drop the head, but we do. We want to keep your ears in line with the upper inner arms and just take your gaze back. So we see a lot of people doing downward facing dog and the head drops. And then in the forward bend, when it's meant to go, it's being held up. So we're going to reverse that thought process better. Exhale, and very slowly put your knees on the floor. One by one, take your time. If you need a blanket or you need something to support your knees, go ahead. And we'll keep the hands on the chair. Exhale, bring the right foot forward. Bring it in line with your chair. And then from here, bring both forearms on the seat. Exhale. Now you can stay and do some breathing by releasing your forehead down. If you feel I'd like to do a little more work with my back leg, you curl the back toes under and you straighten the leg. So you come into a deep lunge. So you have to work again through the inner thigh. Try and keep the right knee bent at a right angle. You have to work through the inner thigh and the inner leg. Wonderful. Breathe in. exhale. Because we would do this on the floor, but then we would round our back, and we're trying to get these legs to wake up. Slowly put the left knee down. Slow, well done, and take the right foot back. Take a moment, exhale here, and then walk your knees in a little bit, and come and stand, and take yourself back into your downward facing dog on the chair. And as you extend back, just observe the left leg, observe your right leg. So just by a simple opening through your hip and a lunge, you get a little more space through your legs. You need to observe. Exhale very slowly, put your knees down. Take your time. You may need to go one by one. Take your time. Left foot forward. So when you open your hips or you do any form of lunge, you create space. You create space, we improve the height and we improve the spinal space through the limbs. Both forearms on the chair. Take a moment, set yourself up here, exhale here. If you did the other leg, go for this one too. Extend the back leg through the heel. Think thigh bone, keep the right angle if you can on the left side, and just work on the back leg. Shoulders away from the ears. Keep moving into the heel. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. So we try and nip up a little bit through the belly, and then very slowly put the knee down. Hands on the seat. Take the left knee back. Be mindful, walk the knees in a little bit so we're not slipping, and then bring yourself up again. Always keep your chair on the mat in case your chair is not on the mat and it slips if it's on a carpet at home or a wooden floor. So keep the chair on your mat so it doesn't slip. And then again, exhale and find your downward facing dog action with your hands on the chair. Nice. Take another breath in and breathe out. And then walk yourself all the way to your chair and bring yourself to sitting. When you sit on the chair, you'll get a better forward bend. Let me do it from the side. So I actually have a chair that I can go all the way back because I don't have a back seat here, it's got space. So I can actually take my hips all the way back here. Knees are together. If you don't have, you can still go all the way back to your chair. Hold on to the back of the legs of your chair. So you hold on to the back of the legs. You can put your feet on the blocks here if your feet don't touch the floor. Exactly. And then you want to slide back a little bit in order to come forward. Does that make sense? Don't come forward with your head. We're coming forward, remember, from the hips. So you hinge forward. So we're looking for this space through the spine. Hold on to the back of the legs, slide back, come forward. Keep your eyes soft. You can have your feet hip width or together. Pull on the chair legs, come forward. Feel the space that comes through the lumbar spine, through the side body. You can walk your hands down the chair legs, little pull, extend forward, release your gaze, and then release your head, and then just let the nose go between your knees. So doing the forward bending action on a chair will give you the feeling of where you need to be when you're doing it standing. Some of you are still holding your head up. Can you let the chest come onto your thighs and release your head and your gaze? If for any reason the head stays up because you get too dizzy, fine. But if you do let the head relax, you'll calm your nervous system down. When the nervous system is calm, it's also a nice way to recover from if you've done a lot of practice, or if you've been really busy, or if your mind is busy, you're overactive, you're overthinker, just do a forward bend. Hang on a chair, let the back open, breathe into your back body. Softly exhale, shoulders away from you. That's it. And then press your feet. Come through the abdomen, lift the lower belly to your navel and bring yourself up. Great. And then from here, if you stand up and you turn around and you come close to your chair, you're not going to be nervous about coming forward. You can bring your forearms on the chair, tip yourself forward, and rest the top of the head on the chair. And notice how that releases your neck. Look at your legs, lift the skin of your knees up, and move your thighs back. And you can leave the top of your head on the chair and let the arms hang over the sides of your chair too. There you go. But do walk your feet close to the chair, because then you're working your legs better. Don't have your feet too far away. Much better. See, so this forward bending action and letting go is coming. Take a breath in. Allow yourself to exhale. Once more, breathe in. Breathe out. Press your feet. Inhale, please come up. Use your hands on the chair. And come up. And stand. So we're taking it wide. So I'm just going to put the chair to the side, but you can have your chair in front of you. But you're going to need the chair, so don't put it away. You've got the mat. So I want you to be at the back of your mat with your heels touching the back of your mat. The mat is lengthwise. Find your mountain pose. We talked about the legs. We talked about rooting down through all fours and standing. Have your hands on your pelvis, and from this area of your feet and your pelvis, I'd like you to heel toe out. So it's equidistant. So heels out, toes, heels, toes. So heel toe out, so it's equidistant, and it's great for the pelvis. You're working through the hips, and your heels go last. Go to your maximum width between your legs. Now press the outer edges of your feet. Some of you, because I can see your mats, your heels have gone in. Always take the heels out last. Don't let the heels come in, because I'd like your feet to be straight. The little toe in line with the outer heel, so you press the outer edges of your feet down. Think pelvis. When we take the legs wide, the abdominal energy drops to the floor. It's internal. The physiology of the abdominal energy comes down. In yoga, we have something called an abdominal lock. You have to press the outer heels. Think where you had your hands on your pelvis. Lift the pelvis up, connect to the lower belly, pick it up, and take it to your back. So you're picking it up. Most of you do Pilates, so you would do this in Pilates, where you're engaging navel to spine, spine to back. But we go further. In yoga, we come much lower with the lifting up and the flying back of the abdominal wall, and from your pelvis coming forward halfway. Think chair, think hips going back into the chair, think side body coming forward over the forward action you did sitting on the chair. Just hinge off your hips. Now, if you're happy with hands on the floor, on the front side of the mat, you tip your weight forward. If you're not comfortable with hands on the floor, you bring your chair and rest your forearms on the chair. If you're happy with hands on the floor, separate the fingers, straight arms, look forward, look up a little bit, so you have the space that comes between your upper back. You sort of concave your back, press the outer heels, and then bend the elbows back and down to the floor towards getting the top of the head to release towards the ground. I'm not asking you to get your head on the floor. I'm asking you to use your hands, moving the elbows back so it brings the side body down. Because what you do with the arms will determine what happens in your thoracic and your back body. What you do with the legs looks after where you need to be going through the lower body. Let the head go. Well done. Hands can also be on the bricks. Hands can be on the floor or hands or forearm on the chair. Take a deep breath in. Do one more action. Move your upper inner thighs away from one another. Where you had your brick between your thighs, move that area away. And then take another exhalation. Press your palms on the floor or your bricks and slowly come up halfway. If you can put your hands back on your hips, come up all the way. Take your time. Work the legs, let the legs carry you and up. And then from here, we heel toe back in. So that is preparing the legs for standing poses, which we're not going to be doing this morning. I'm just going back to basics this morning and stand. So now if you stand in mountain pose, find the four corners of your feet. Think about where you had the blocks. Think about what you've done through the spine. Your mountain pose becomes a little more steady. Take another breath in. Just breathe out. And then from here, we come down to the ground again. And we go back to the chair. So bring the chair back on the mat. And have your hands on the chair. Your knees are hip width. And don't be too far from the chair. You're going to gauge what you're doing. You see how you go. We're going to have a little opening in the upper back. Press the top of your feet onto the floor. Take your forearms on the chair. And now I'd like you to bend the elbows and bring your palms together on the chair. So you just bring your palms together. Now move the hips back. Move your hips back. Move your hips back. Can you rest your forehead just where you have your hairline on the chair? And let the back chest drop towards the floor. As you press your palms, feel the buttocks spread out. Feel the back chest move down towards the ground. Let the elbows on the chair and the palms together help you open your upper back. Now breathe into that space. Exhale through the side body. You can breathe in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. You can also just breathe in through the mouth, exhale through the mouth. If you ever feel stuck, don't feel you have to breathe in through the nose, exhale through the nose, because we get stuck. Ideally, you want that breath to come from, originate from the lower belly. And now release. So you can just simply put your hands underneath the chair. And if you were to go straight back up into downward facing dog, bringing all that into downward facing dog, that opening you just had in your back chest, the awareness of what we did with the legs, the kneecaps, the thigh bones, the hip bones, the spreading of the buttocks, the rolling of the outer arm to the upper inner arm. You should have your ears by now in line with the upper inner arms. And you should be getting the height much better, looks much better than you need. Now move those thighs back, work your legs. And it is not easy. Thighs go back, upper back rounds. Upper back rounds, thighs don't go back. We need to try and have harmony between the lower triangle, the lower body, and the upper body. Take another breath in. Well done. Exhale. Bring your knees slowly on the floor. Take your knees wide and bring your big toes together. Now, when you take the knees wide and big toes together, I'm hoping you've connected your hips to your heels. We're going to take the back of the hands to the heels and pull them a little bit. So you take your palms around the arches of your feet. You pull a little bit, so you connect the lower back towards the heels. You may not get the forehead on the floor. So again, go ahead, put a foam block or a brick underneath your forehead or a pillow. But if you pull on the heels a little bit, you'll get a little more space through your side body. And then stop pulling on the heels and let the back of the hands rest on the floor. Let them go, let them go, let them rest. And let the shoulders drop. And now go back to the breath. So breathe through the compression around the abdomen. Let the breath come through the side ribs, into your back ribs, and then a slow, controlled exhalation all the way out. Do that 2 more times. Press the shins, the feet slowly will come up. Knees stay together. You're sitting on your heels, or you can put a block back between your feet again and just rest your palms on your thighs. Keep your eyes closed. Take your awareness to your abdomen. Just observe your own breathing, your own natural rhythm of your own breath here for a few moments. Just be still. Try and take the weight to your heels more rather than sitting forward. You want to really sit back onto the heels more and feel the length come through the spine. Even if you just give your elbows a little bend towards your thighs, you feel the shift through the collarbones and the back body. You'll create a little more space through your neck. And then your palms towards your heart space, elbows down, take a deep breath in. As you bow your head, exhale. Namaste, ladies. Good to see you. Thank you for practicing. The legs will probably need a little bit of rest. They're resting here, but you can also put them on your chair. If you're in your lounge, you can put your calves on the top of the sofa, rest your lower back for a moment. That would be ideal to seal and finish your class off in a short resting pose. It's not quite Shavasana. Shavasana we do for longer periods, up to 8 minutes or so. Of course, by all means do, if you'd like to stay here, but it'd be nice to just rest a little bit, especially through the pelvis, and let your legs rest because they'll be elevated. And so that's quite nice. And just allow the pelvis, the hip bones, the tailbone to get heavy. Always have a support under your head if you need it, so there's no strain around the neck at all. Wishing you all a wonderful day, and I'm going to quietly sign off.